Hey, Thrive Loud listeners, are you down and out? Is your daily routine getting a little boring? Do you need something that gets you motivated? Well, then get up from what you're doing and get the blood flowing. Hit the gym, go for a hike in the cold, go for a run, do something. And while you're out there, pop in your headphones, load up your podcast app, and get inspired with the amazing content Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond has for you. Us interns at Thrive Loud are working our tails off to pull together these great shows to bring you some incredible content, and you are missing out if you're not listening. Download it, subscribe to it, share the heck out of it on social media. It's great stuff. It's not just about listening. The show is called Thrive Loud, people, so get to it and start thriving as loud as you can by listening to all of these inspiring episodes.
Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
So we are here in a special Thrive Loud catch-up episode with Joel Salomon. Joel, how are you, my friend?
I am awesome. Thanks so much for having me back on, Lou. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Joel came on almost a year ago, and in that time, he's got another book out. Last time we had him, he was featuring his last book, which was Mindful Money Management, and now he's got another one. You want to tell the users a little bit about it? Why don't we start right there?
Sure. Thanks, Lou. So it's called The 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use, Only the Unconventional Ones. And the reason I wrote this book was because I got some criticism on mindful money management that it was a very interesting financial book, a book about my career, but it didn't really give people processes and ways to become a millionaire, ways to become financially free, ways to become prosperous and abundant. And there were tidbits in there. There were great quotes and a great journey that I had in my career. But I wanted to answer that critique and really help people to become financially free. So these are my unconventional rules. I start out the book by talking about how I'm not a rules guy. And so if you find anything that resonates with you, take it. If it doesn't, none of it resonates, fine. But here's a few things that I believe what differentiate millionaires from the common person out there. And so I wanted to teach people some lessons I learned, specifically what to do, some techniques, some specific processes that they can do on a daily basis to move them to financial freedom.
So before we dive into any of those specifics or have those questions, it actually does make sense. Like, you wrote your first book, you had a story to tell about yourself, kind of got that out into the world. And then I wouldn't say these were criticisms. I'd say, look, feedback is, hey, what are those tips? You have to lead them in, Joel. Right. So it takes exactly a little bit. So then obviously they can understand the whole story. I want to, without going into the specifics of your tips right away, because we'll provide that for listeners to check out. You mentioned something here that millionaires are different, or people who've managed to do that. What are some of the symptoms or observations that you've seen that make someone that's able to make millions of dollars different from the average man who can't, or woman?
Well, the very first thing is the mindset. So having a millionaire mindset, having the mindset of, I'm here to thrive, no pun intended here, but okay,
pun intended.
I'm not here just to thrive. I'm not here just to survive. I'm here to thrive. And that is a mindset that a lot of people do not have. I was brought up by being taught by my parents and friends and cousins and grandparents. We can't afford that. That's too expensive. Money doesn't grow on trees. I got screamed at for keeping my light on when we left the house, keeping the light on in my bedroom when we left the house. So that kind of mindset of lack and poverty and scarcity is what most people are brought up in, as opposed to knowing that you were born to thrive, that you were born to be abundant and prosperous. And having that mindset is what is a differentiating factor that millionaires have, that rich, successful people have. And it's, you don't have to already be a millionaire to have the mindset. And what I teach in this book, and I teach my clients, is that you can have that mindset before you get there. In fact, it's critical to have it before you get there. Feeling the feeling of abundance and prosperity and knowing that it's your birthright will get you there much quicker.
Joel, from your experience, would you say that the challenge is achieving the mindset more so than many of the other tasks that you might have? Because that's got to be the biggest hurdle for a lot of people, like you said, who've been told it from multiple generations, almost ingrained in their DNA about how they need to think about money.
Absolutely. I think the mindset has to come first. And, rule number one in the 9 Money Rules is when you believe. Okay. So when you believe that you're worthy of massive wealth, when you believe that lucrative opportunities always come your way, when you know, which I tell my clients, write down on a scale from 1 to 10 your level of belief, where 10 is a knowing, an absolute faith, and 1 is massive doubt. And I talk about investments, but you can talk about this with anything, right? What's your belief in your business? What's your belief in your investments? What's your belief in yourself, in your relationships with others? I talk about relationships with others in my book, and I talk about relationships with dogs in my book. Because it's anything. Like, what's your belief level that this can be successful? And if you're not a 7, 8, 9, or 10, and some people will say you have to be a 10, you have to know. I disagree. If you have a very high level of belief, 7, 8, 9, 10, then it can work out. But if you're way down at 1, 2, 3, massive doubt, oh my God, stock market's risky. Oh, I don't know, real estate's all about leverage. If you have these negative thoughts, then more likely than not, it's going to be really hard for you to make money in those investments.
I want to bring this back, Joel, to earlier in the year, back in, I think, this was in June of 2019, we had John Mitchell on. John Mitchell, who basically was all about how you can make $5 million a year. And he actually discussed on the program that it took about 21 days to code or basically decode your brain to change the way you behave in certain ways. And we even had an offshoot conversation that's very much like trying, what cults do and helping to reprogram people that way. Obviously, when you provide different ways that they can be thinking and all of that, the behaviors behind those steps that you give, do you inch into that a little bit or have suggestions that are helpful to think about money in that way?
Absolutely. So one is doubt the doubt. So you have doubts about yourself, about your dreams and your desires. So hashtag doubt the doubt, right? So have faith in your dreams and desires. And so when you start going down that route of doubt, switch it up. I have in the appendix of my book, powerful affirmations. And in fact, on my website, which is either joelsalomon.com or salomor.com, SALEURMOR.com. It's named after my daughters, Lauren and Morgan. So on my website, under the program section in manifesting, you can download 5 or 6 or 7 different audio files for free, different affirmations you can say to yourself on self-esteem, on doubting the doubt, on having strong motivation. All these different audio files help me. And so I want to help others by using these affirmations to change your mindset, have faith in your dreams and desires, and get you to financial freedom quicker. For
our listeners, they'll get a chance to look at the link. He's got a quote from one of my favorite speakers, Les Brown: "Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss, you will land among the stars." It's a great quote, by the way. Yeah. So this is awesome. And obviously It's fun. Let's go through. I asked you back when you were on the program the first time, what was it like writing the book? What was it like writing it a second time, another book?
This book really flowed because when I was writing the first book, to be completely open with you, Lou, and everyone who's listening, it wasn't the book I really wanted to write. I didn't fully open up the kimono, as it were. And this, I kind of bared all. And so I knew what I wanted to write. I knew I had written some stories that didn't completely tell the whole story. And so I wanted to make sure the full information was out there, and it just really did flow. I had feedback from some really great people who I acknowledge in the book, who gave me some really good ideas of how to make it even better. But the main part of the book, the rules, the ideas, was there. And so it really took just a few months to write the book. It just flowed. And sometimes when you're in that zone and things are going well, the information is just, it feels like it's not coming actually from you.
Right. I know, Joel, that you're out there speaking and talking about, obviously, these 9 ways and different messages. What has been for you personally a fun thing that's happening with this, or maybe something you're learning about yourself as you're sharing your message from your voice versus obviously having the message come out from the book?
Right. I think I talk a lot about faith versus fear, and my biggest fear 3 years ago was public speaking. And if it was in person, if it was on a podcast, if it was live or Memorex,
you think our listeners will remember that?
Hopefully remember the tape, right? So either way, it was a big fear. And I talk about this in my book. And what created that fear was being up on stage in elementary school for my 6th grade play and freezing when it was time to say my lines. And after that day, if you asked me to speak in front of more than 2 people, I got out my index cards, I got out a piece of paper, and I read what I was going to say. And it was not the most exciting, enthusiastic speech, right? If you're reading and nervous and so on, it's not helpful. It doesn't excite the listener. So 3 years ago, almost exactly to this day, maybe January of 2017, so not quite 3 years ago, I joined Toastmasters, and that has really changed my life. And I will tell you, I've made a lot of really good investments, Lou, in my life, stocks and real estate and so on, but this is the best investment I've ever made.
Oh, great. It's really good. They do a great job in, as I like to say, the art of speaking, and really getting comfortable with it. And that's great to hear. What I'll ask you is this: everyone has something when they're delivering a message that they see within the audience. I always call it's that head nod, that aha moment. What's the message that you're delivering that you visibly see audiences shake their heads in agreement and get, like that one thing that you've been doing more so than anything else? I'm sure most of the messages are, but there's always one that you say and you're like, oh, wow, that really got the reaction. Everybody did the, he's right. I get that. Oh, yeah. Wow. What is that moment when you communicate?
That's a great question, Lou. I think being grateful, which is rule number 5, is when I get those head nods. So I tell the story. So I was on the Upper East Side in Manhattan with my former wife, and I got a call from my mom who said, Joel, the temperature's 105. It hasn't gone down since you left. What should we do? So I asked her, did you give her the cold compresses? Did you give her the Tylenol? My mom says, yes, we did. And it still hasn't gone down. So we rush home. My daughter Morgan is not yet 9 months old. And she has this terrible fever. She's pale. She doesn't look herself. We gave her more Tylenol and cold compresses, and I even gave her a cold bath, and the temperature did go down. And we, of course, called the pediatrician, and she said, look, if it doesn't go down tomorrow, Sunday, you got to go in to the hospital. So the next day it did go down, but on Monday morning we went into her anyway, and she looked at Morgan and she said, you got to go to the hospital. She knew exactly what it was. We get to the emergency room. The doctor takes one look at Morgan, had gotten the information for the pediatrician, and said, look, she needs surgery. So a few minutes later, she's hooked up to all those wires. She has the IV tube in her, and the doctor's trying to put her out and can't because she's fussing so much and screaming, and, imagine a 9-month-old. So the doctor asked us to hold her down as they gave her the quote unquote laughing gas to put her out. And so we did. And I remember, crying profusely. And as they took her out, asked us to leave the room. And I don't remember exactly when I stopped crying, but within a couple of hours, the doctor came out, said the operation was a success and Morgan was fine. And again, when Morgan came out of the emergency room, she had all the wires in her still, and the IV, but within a couple of hours of that, the color had returned and to her face, and she was smiling and happy again. And so for me, gratitude for Morgan, for being alive, for being, a happy, healthy, caring, thoughtful, beautiful daughter who's now 13 years old, is something I am grateful for every day. And I tell people gratitude doesn't have to be about amazing miracle of life kind of things, but when you can get into a feeling of gratitude now, before what you want to happen happens, then it's going to come much more quickly. Because gratitude and appreciation is probably the highest emotion you feel, along with love and passion. So write down 5 things you're grateful for every morning, and write down 5 things that you're grateful for every night. And it will shift how you feel. And in the evening time, I recommend to write down why you feel grateful. So I write down why I'm grateful for my daughters and why I'm grateful for something that happened today. Like today, I'll write down tonight, I'm grateful for Lou Diamond. So there are things that you can do each day that make you shift your feeling, which will get you to a feeling of gratitude and appreciation for what maybe even hasn't happened yet. And then those things will come quicker.
I got to tell you, Joel, you really have pulled back the kimono. Thank you for sharing the story with the listeners. Definitely, what a great message, an important rule, but I think also shows a little bit about yourself, right? And I think these are the things that certainly do get the aha and the head nod moments when you speak. Well played. Well done, sir. Looking forward to hearing more of it.
Thank you. Look, I think the most, for me at least, my company's named after my daughters, Lauren and Morgan. I say, and I might have said this when we were on last time, they taught me unconditional love. They teach me unconditional love every day. And I really, truly did not understand unconditional love until I had children.
Right. It is. Some people have communicated the concept, and until you have one, you now understand why you would throw your body in front of a bus for these lovely little people. So Joel, we'll put all the show notes out there. Let's focus on this just so that our listeners can catch up with you. let's give info on where they can get the book, and we'll put those links in there so they can get it directly, so they can catch up and they can catch up with these 9 ways. So your chance to plug right here, specifically where they can find and get the book.
So what's really cool is we have a website called Ninemoneyrules.com. The word 9, even though the book is the number 9 Money Rules Millionaires Use. So Ninemoneyrules.com. You can get the book there. You can also get on that book website the introduction to the book, the foreword by Andy Dooley, who some say is one of the funniest people they've ever met. So a pretty interesting foreword that Andy put together for me. So I appreciate Andy Dooley. And all the testimonials from some very powerful law of attraction and infinite possibility teachers. So Mike Dooley wrote Infinite Possibilities, a New York Times bestseller. Christy Whitman wrote Quantum Success.
Christy's been on our show. Big fan of Christy. Yeah, we love Christy on the pod.
She's amazing, and she gave me a really powerful testimonial. So so that you get all the testimonials on there as well. And so you can get it there with it's probably over a 10% discount from Amazon. Of course, if you want to get it from Amazon. Also, the audiobook will be out mid-September, and that will be available both on Amazon and on Ninemoneyrules.com.
Okay, Joel, what other offerings do you have that you can share with our listeners?
So there's one more thing, Lou, I wanted to mention. I have, if listeners text to the number 66866, that's the number 66866, 9 Money Rules. So all one word, 9 Money Rules.
And that's N-I-N-E, just so we're clear.
N-I-N-E, okay, Money Rules. They will get asked to put in their email. You put in your email and you will get a exclusive white paper that I've written just for your listeners. The 5 mistakes new millionaires make.
Okay. I like that.
For free.
Joel Salomon, thank you for jumping in on a Thrive Loud catch-up. Congrats on the new book. Glad to see you're being more authentic and open and continue to get out there and get your message out here. And I was so glad that we were able to get you in and catch up with our Thrive Loud fans.
Lou, thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure and always great to talk with you.
You got it. And to all our Thrive Loud listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep thriving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes, Overcast, or wherever you get your podcasts. And follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Thrive Loud. Or find us on the web at thriveloud.com.